going to necessarily, so we are going to begin the broadcast, but I will put on this in order to see interaction just for the fuck of it. I might ignore it if it gets out of hand, though. All right, here we see here. All righty. Same old crap in the news. Yeah. You get a chance to debate reefer cake. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Because you already won, my friend. Jeff is dudeness, the dissident present.
I feel like
peasant. You're like a peasant to me. You're a peasant, but I just said you were a present.
We're all peasants, really. If you're listening to this broadcast, I guarantee you that you are not in the halls of government. You're not in the halls of business. You're not making decisions for other human beings on a large scale. No, you are probably just another one of the mass of unimportant people, who live on this planet, just like me and just like Jimmy Reefercake. So,
indeed, and yet this is how we inflate our importance by broadcasting our discussions.
I just bought a microphone, a website. That's all I did.
I can hear you sound rich and full.
Oh, thank you.
You got a singing voice too. I know. I mean,
I'm a classically trained musician.
Hell yeah.
I went to a very fine music school and drank way too much beer for about 6 years. I didn't finish. I qualified for an Associates of Music, and I did do my senior recital and passed. So that gives you an idea of like how far I got, but I never did finish.
Nice. And you, sir, are you're big time Majority Report fan, along with recently with Chris Lepaco, a former debater. So you guys are like the Three Musketeers now, because you're now joining the club of people who have debated Jimmy Reefercake on the channel. Chris Lepaco has done it too, and so has Raygun, dude.
Yeah, I know. I've seen both their debates, and I was really jealous. I was listening to my dick was getting so hard. I was like, why can I not also get in on this? Because I won't lie to you, Jimmy. You've been saying and doing some things that I don't think are good. And,
okay.
And I think that if I were you, I would stop doing them.
Well, interesting. That's a good point. When given a certain platform, and so that's what I guess you're alluding to, using my platform and things that are coming out of my mouth through my lyrics and through my brain that you don't agree with, right? Well, it can be more specific. Go ahead.
That's
why don't you just pick the most not aggressive, but the most what's the worst? Is it Tulsi Gabbard? We're gonna get into that in a moment. But,
yeah, well, I mean, that's really what we're here to talk about. I did have something other than Tulsi to bring up, but I'll save that in my back pocket for a few minutes. I do want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard. Let me just ask you, in a few sentences, why are you such a fan of her? I assume, Jimmy, that you're a man of the left like me, right? You're not a right winger or reactionary or anything like that, right? You're not a centrist. You're not even really a liberal, right? Like you're a leftist, right? You're a lefty, right?
You know all about me, man. Of course, if you've been a loyal listener. So I clearly am of the left. And what I think is that Gabbard is not really on our side. She isn't. She's not really on the left side. Even though she supported Bernie at the moment.
Yeah, she did. She supported in 2016. She did, and that was a good thing. I won't deny that. That was good.
Given.
No, there absolutely. It's a great reason to take another look at her as a candidate. But the problem is when you take that second look at her, you're going to find, without looking too hard, a lot of incredibly problematic stuff. And I don't just mean like in terms of messaging or image. I mean, actually policy related things that you're not going to be a fan of.
Indeed. The first question you asked, I guess, was basically what was my positive things. I guess I got a chance to say.
Other than endorsing Bernie, though, is there? So which I agree.
Am I able to give my other Am I able to answer your question?
Yeah,
sir?
I'm sorry. What else? What else is there besides the endorsement, which I also really liked? I think that was a good thing.
She's one of the very first ones to support legalizing at the federal level, speaking loud and proud about weed.
Yeah, let's legalize that loud. Let's proudly legalize that loud.
So that is happening out loud with people speaking. So I always think of people when I look at politicians. I look at them like someone on a playing field. You can see what they're doing by watching them. You can go read some bullshit article and then make a bunch of presumptions or listen to someone else talking about someone. But so on the issue of weed and legalizing, yeah, I listened to her. She impressed the fuck out of me. I'm not done yet. You want to hear some more?
Yeah, I do. I definitely
did you see her on Joe Rogan or on Jimmy Dore? Okay, so if you talk about someone who can talk to the if you wanted to say Joe Rogan it's like the old Joe Six-Pack. Now it's Joe Six-Pack, but it's actually having a six-pack, right? Like the guy, like talking to normal people, getting respect from people and appearing genuine. She kicks ass at that.
Okay.
I'm going to give you all my fury, but I know there are bad things, which I could talk about too, but that's the good. I mean, there's more, but the anti-war message is why she appeals.
All right, we'll go back to that anti-war message because I think it's probably a lot less anti-war than you might think.
Oh, wait, one extra thing. I guess I said it with what I said, but it's really the style and seeing how someone is a winner and able to win and looking at their numbers, looking at the stats. So that's the other thing, is someone who can actually win based on how well they perform. So, okay, that's my answer to your question.
So I would say that pretty much everything you listed, you can easily find in another candidate that doesn't have the baggage that we're about to talk about. Not that anything you said was like really wrong, except maybe the anti-war stuff, because I happen to think that she's a lot less anti-war than people on the left are willing to give her credit for. But in terms of legalizing weed, yes, obviously, like I'm not gonna fight with you on that. That's great. I think that's great that she's a leader on that issue. I think it's great that she endorsed Bernie, and I think if I'm being generous, at least we could say that like she's introduced into the national conversation a little bit. Maybe we shouldn't be Saudi Arabia's running dog or whatever the fuck. Right?
That was
these are all good things, right?
The bitch tweet. She said he called him out a bitch on Twitter. That was cool.
Yeah,
thanks for bringing that up.
I mean, no, I like
very
that.
gracious.
I really did.
Very gracious of you.
I know, and I
appreciate it.
I really do try to be fair. I'm not an expert on Tulsi Gabbard or Indian politics or many things. I can't know everything about everything, but I do try to be a reasonably well-informed guy. And one thing that really bothers me about Gabbard is her ties, not just personal ties, her financial ties, the money that they give her, which goes into the millions of dollars over the course of her very short political career, because she's only about as old as I am, which is I'm 33. She's around that age, if I recall.
Right.
They've given her millions of dollars over the years, and these are people associated with something called the BJP in India, of which Modi is the leader. Are you familiar with the BJP at all?
I'm looking at this article called Tulsi Gabbard on The Intercept, called Tulsi Gabbard is a rising progressive star despite her support for Hindu nationalists.
That's right. It's a fair headline, I'd say.
And I actually read through this while I watched the Patriots utterly destroy the Chargers. Son, say hello.
Hello there.
And say goodbye. Close the door.
Hi there.
Close the door, man. Thank you.
Who's that? Was that your producer?
That's the disruptor. He's the disruptor. So I'm looking at and I skimmed through, and I just want to take one quote from this article for you that I really love, but you can keep going on when I'll get to it at this point.
Yeah, just briefly for your listeners and mine, if they're here, and anyone else who stumbled onto the stream accidentally while they were hungover. The BJP is I'll be general, I guess, and I'm not an expert on this area, but they're a Hindi nationalist party. Some would consider them a Hindi supremacist party. Basically, they're India for Indians, right? I'm not sure if you or your listeners are aware.
Yeah.
India's of course a country of home to over 1 billion people. There are literally hundreds of linguistic, ethnic, religious minorities of different types throughout India. It's a very it's a very diverse place. It's not just full of Hindis. These people, they're tired of that. They don't want any more of that. Specifically, Muslims are the largest minority in India, the religious minority, if I remember right. They want to put it into all that. They want to make those people second-class citizens, and they want to make India great again. And not only has she been photographed with them wearing their party garb, smiling. Not only did she, head over there a couple times to network. Not only has she taken millions of dollars from this groups associated with Modi in the United States in order to achieve election. She continues to do all of this until very, very, very recently, about a year or so ago, she started to tiptoe away from these people. But she still takes their money, as you'll see in that Intercept article. She still continues to take their money today, and she still continues to make noises about being unfair to Modi, or being unfair to the idea that India should be for Indians and no one else. I don't think that's the kind of outlook that I find it disqualifying, frankly. I think nationalism is a disease, and that embracing it means that you're a reactionary. It means that you're on the right wing. It means that you're not my ally, and it means I can't vote for you in the Democratic primary.
Yeah, that is a really strong it's basically been the only really strong argument, and I read the article, and the thing is, I agree with you in many senses.
I mean, at the very least, Jimmy, don't you think that she needs to be asked about this a lot?
Oh yeah,
right? It is not attacking her unfairly to point this shit out, right? Like this is stuff that she does in the open.
Although, according to this article, she's in response to getting this kind of stuff. If you look at it as a human being, she's of that Hindu religion, and as she's growing up conservatively in a conservative background, growing older and older, I mean, I can't really say you could think of any politician who hasn't gotten, especially if you look at the Israel and the Jewish lobby, it almost seems to me like a distraction, because is there any other politician who hasn't gotten money from certainly a Jewish, or some other, this is one thing in the quote I liked, and I can say that it's one of the guys. I think Indian people, a lot of people are very into their culture, right? They still eat the Indian food, dress sometimes away or whatever. And that's true of any people. Gabbard's allies are committed to their efforts. This is a quote, a guy. Why should Hindus not have their own political organization in the United States? The Jews have it. The Muslims have it. The Christians have it too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. But my answer to that is not that, I'm cool. I'm cool with right-wing foreign lobbying of my politicians. No, my answer is and also all those people suck ass.
Right.
I don't care.
Who are the other candidates?
That's not a defense.
Then I want to hear who are the other candidates who are materially not supporting Israel in their efforts.
To be fair, we only have two. Well, I guess there's Julian Castro, but he's never. I don't want to talk about him. He's nothing. And there's some other dude I think in New Hampshire declared a year ago. But really, it's just Gabbard and Warren. So we'll just talk about them too. I will grant you that Warren's relationship with the Israeli lobby is not great, but her ties with AIPAC and the like are not nearly as heavy as Tulsi's with Modi. The numbers, she doesn't take the money that Tulsi takes. She doesn't go to the gatherings that Tulsi goes to. If there were any on the AIPAC side, that would be comparable.
President, I have to interrupt you. We could, if you have a recorder on your end, that's good. But I've been alerted to I've been alerted to the fact that I'm looking at my thing. I can hear you on my headphones, but go ahead and talk.
Check 1 2 3.
So it is not actually going to this live stream on the YouTube. Is that true, everybody on the chat there?
That's really weird. I don't know why that
son
is.
Of a bitch. But you say you're recording it, are you?
Yeah, I'm recording. Right. It's not
very
going out
well.
Live, but
so that's fine. Sorry, everybody who tuned in live.
It's not me. I'm pretty sure everything I can see on my end is green. I've got
it's okay.
It's working. So
yeah, it's something going on, but it doesn't matter. The point is that you can hear this debate in its entirety. I mean, if you can, we can share this audio out later.
Yeah,
right?
I'll post it later.
Cool, man. Oh wait, somebody says I can hear Jeff. Okay, no, fuck that. Never mind.
Cool. I don't know. I didn't change anything, so I didn't do anything different. Well, right. I made so many eloquent points, and everybody missed it. Everybody missed when I just solved like 19 mathematical paradoxes.
So devil you don't says I can hear Jeff. All right, good. Cool. All you fuckers can hear him. But somebody else said, "Where's the peasant?" And then I looked at my. All right, sorry, I was wrong. But see, I'm a producer and a fucking.
No, I can definitely sympathize with you.
You got to be paranoid, man. Yeah.
No, I also host this show and also run all the tech for it and do all the audio engineering too. So yeah, it's like 2 or 3 jobs.
So dude, we got into the most distressing thing to me, which I will give you, is this thing. But then when I get into that, I'm like, well, then I got to compare it to the other candidates on that same dimension. And so that's where I have the other things that drew me to Tulsi.
I mean, let's talk about the war on terror, if you like. I kind of like to talk about that. She's got some curious views about the war on terror, I would say. I'm not sure if you've read up on this, but she does not like Muslim people. I'm just gonna say it. She doesn't like them. She doesn't like Islam. She views Islam as among the world religions, so Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, etc. She views Islam as uniquely and singularly dangerous. And though I also do not have any truck with theistic religion, I'm totally a man of science and empiricism, and absolutely do not believe in any god or gods of any kind, or the supernatural indeed, I can't help but shake a little bit when I hear something like that, because I gotta tell you, having been a man of faith myself in Christianity and having seen many other people of different faiths, I can tell you for a fact that none of these religions are really superior to the others. They've all got their fundamentalists. They've all got their crackpots. And I don't find demonizing 1.7 or whatever, how many billion Muslims are on this point, like 3.7, I don't know, all the Muslim people on this planet, to lump them together with radical Islam and insist that that's what we call it, insist that we fight a war against it. This isn't good, Jimmy. This is also a right-wing reaction to culture. She's not on the left. She's
made your point, and that's you're saying that. But the thing is, I just tweeted out. I don't know if I tweeted it or saw it, but it was a video of her speaking to this like multi-religious sort of thing, talking about how she's feels it. I don't know. She's totally saying the opposite of what you just said. And so she basically says that you need to no religion. Basically what she was saying, I try to remember now. I can't say it as good as her, but her point was that no religion actually wants violence to be part of that religion. That's not the Islam religion. None of them do. It's only the radical people in every religion that do these things. And that was exactly, this is what happens again and again with me with Tulsi, is that
that's good if she said that, but that's new. That is
now,
new.
What you're listening to though is something, and I want to go to it, is that I think she was going on Fox News at times in the past, and it might have been a play for her to just get attention, but it was easy for her to come out of the military, because that's literally a technical term in the military, radical Islam. If you come out of the military, it's just like going to whatever school you went, music school. They're like, here's the fucking Why?
You think that? You think it's a technical term?
Oh, it's a military term. Hell yeah!
But do you think it's a technical term in the military, or is it just a term in the military?
Because they'll be like,
or is it no?
Find the radical Islam elements. We need to, that's what they look at.
But how is it a technical term though? Isn't it just a slur the military likes to use? That's what it sounds like to me.
But okay, yes, that's good.
So are you saying that like she was brainwashed by the Department of Defense into like really loving the framing of radical Islam versus everyone else, and that's why we should give her a break on that? Because I don't agree.
I think though that when you talk about radical Islam, the way she's saying it, and it goes on with what the nice things I was saying is you say radical and then you say the thing. It's not Islam in general. So like anyway. I hear that though. It's just my point is it's not as extreme as a lot of people.
I can't imagine a crusade waged by any other non-Christian country against radical Christianity going over well. I think people would be offended by that. I think they would, and I am not a Christian, but I would also be offended by that. I would also be pissed off about that.
That's why Tulsi she's an anti-crusader. That's straight up. So she's saying that she definitely wants countries to be as they are with their own religions, do their thing, and basically not have violence. That's basically her point. Is like no religion wants violence. No country should be invading some other country to control who controls it. So we talk about Syria. We talk about a lot of places where certain people in our country are like, well, I really like the some group over there because they have a kind of politics I like. I'm really upset that the fucking populist right winger won or some other asshole won. So you know what? I'm going to support and I'm going to give them weapons. That's what we're doing right now. Like ridiculously.
Yeah, I think Syria is a little thornier to talk about because, frankly, like Gabbard's vision is the one that we're probably going to end up going with, right? We're probably basically going to cut ties and we're going to let Bashar al-Assad and henceforth the Russian Federation basically call the shots in Syria. Because I don't know if you know this, and this is not a Russia thing, but Syria is a client state of the Russian Federation. It's really like their only one that they have left. And the more important aspect of that is the client part, not the Russian part. They're a client kingdom, just like Iran was a client kingdom of ours in the 50s and 60s, right? And it's the client part that makes it bad because it's the regime in charge on the ground there who ends up becoming authoritarian and serving the whims of their superiors back in Moscow, as opposed to the people who actually live in Syria. The fact that she's getting her way on that, it's a problem with no good solutions as near as I can tell. And at best, she's suggested the least negative course of action, which is not really like, this is not a unique insight on her part that like disengaging from the Middle East would be a good idea from the left. I'm not sure exactly how much credit I should give her for that. And I find it really weird that she focuses a lot of that energy on Syria, not on many of the other countries in which we are also propping up civil wars.
But no, isn't she? I think she speaks out against like a lot of the Yemen, right? Pretty strong against Yemen,
right? But she didn't go. She didn't travel.
Regime change war.
She didn't travel overseas though.
That's because there was bullshit going on.
She didn't travel overseas to Saudi Arabia to wag their finger at them. She didn't travel to Yemen to tell them to stop bombing. But she did travel to Assad, and she did come back with a big smile on her face and said, "Guess what, everyone? Assad's about to introduce democracy into Syria." And everyone looked at her like she was a fucking insane person because that's a fucking insane thing to say. Yeah, that is a thing that happened.
She said that? Okay.
Yeah.
What I think is going on is that basically there's we're giving money, like it's out. You can see the bill. There's literally like, this is money to give arms and shit to fucking rebels in Syria, people who are causing war and violence. we think that's going to work because we can keep selling weapons to give them weapons. We have that in paper. Her point is that that is ridiculous. And she put a fucking bill forth that says no more selling arms or giving arms to terrorists. We're literally giving money to cause violence. So she proves a point by meeting the guy fucking runs the country. And what's going to be chaos in the country?
And when she voted to restrict refugees from that country from coming to the United States, what message was she sending then? What values was she signaling in?
Because first of all, that's a total topic change. I'll change my topic, dude. No,
that's not a topic change. I'm talking about the civil war in Syria.
There is, because guess what? Why are there refugees? Maybe it isn't.
Excuse me.
Why are there refugees?
Excuse me. Yeah, why are there refugees? Because we're talking about the civil war that you just brought up. The fact that war creates refugees that Tulsi Gabbard voted not to allow to enter the United States, that's not a topic change.
Oh, yeah,
it's the same fucking topic change.
Well, if it's the same topic, then at least you can acknowledge the simple fucking logic that the more violence and bloodshed and terrorists, literally terrorists,
I just think that if she really cares about peace and security for those people, then why didn't she let them come over as refugees? Why?
I can tell you that was another one I don't like, but I can give my best answer. And first of all, like, I'll tell you straight up, there's other Democrats. She's not the only one. Wasn't like a landslide, but this is what it is that when you are someone who thinks you're going to run for president, or you're scared, perhaps if you think there's a terrorist attack, like, or even basically, dude, if a terrorist attack happens, they will then look at your voting record and they say that that's because you voted for that. And the bill itself was, although it meant that but the bill itself really said, when I read though, I was like, that's true. But it was like, it wasn't saying they couldn't come in. It was saying they needed extra investigation.
No, because that would be unconstitutional if they just did that, right? No, they had to find a sneakier way to do it. I understand. Yeah.
But you're coming out of a fucking a terror war zone where she knew that was a bad area of the earth to really just, if you wanted to play that game. I'm not down with it. All right. You're right. I don't like it. It's not good. It's a bad sign. Other Democrats did it too. All the Republicans did it. Every single one of them. So think about this. If you want to have, if you're playing a game of, you want to hedge your bets, you want to have let's say you weren't just for Tulsi, like you're for any Democrat, right? Well, what if we had no Democrats and then there's a terrorist attack? They will just fucking, they could even create a fucking fake terrorist attack, which they certainly would, and say it's Syria refugee did it. Who the fuck knows what these assholes will do?
But that's just it. Like they're gonna say whatever. The right wing's gonna say whatever. Like I don't. The fact that she was afraid. The fact that she was afraid either like of the political consequences of that vote or of an actual refugee pulling off an act of terror in some sort of like improbably ridiculous scenario. Either way, what is she doing, Jimmy? She's acting out of fear. Now, I happen to think fear is a pretty useful trait to have. It keeps us alive, right? I don't want to see it in my political leaders so much.
She didn't act out of fear on, how she's speaking out and fucking against Hillary. First of all, she was the DNC golden girl. And then she said, you know what? And she tells you why she went against Hillary. You got to listen to her, maybe, man. Like, if you want to listen to if you want to listen to Liz Warren talk, listen to Tulsi Gabbard talk. My point is, like, what I'm getting.
Is that really a brave or sacrifice, though, in the end, though? Because it looks like it put her in a pretty position afterwards. It looks like now she's riding high for that one good thing that she did.
Something to be said for being smart. But I don't even know. Here's one point that I think I should, if this debate gets anything, I believe that the main thing that I think is ridiculous is an over-the-top reaction that implies some sort of a Nazi-like quality. Now, sure, maybe Tulsi is some kind of like, she's a plant from a Hindu conspiracy and she's very much hates Muslims and all this shit. Oh, yeah, maybe that is true. It's a conspiracy.
I didn't say that.
Dude. No, but how bad is it to support Tulsi Gabbard? That's what I want to fucking get. Not from you. A lot of this anger you hear in my voice, it comes from people.
I mean, it's bad.
All right. Yeah. Oh, it's bad. Okay, dude.
No, I mean it's bad, but like I don't know how bad it is. Like, is it
supporting fucking Kamala Harris?
Is it better? I'm not sure about that. It'd be kind of like 6 to 1, half dozen the other. I mean, it's obviously not as bad as supporting like Donald Trump. It's obviously like, even though he's not running, like Bernie Sanders would be obviously a better choice. But the way I see it, there's only really 2 candidates that I even would consider voting for at this point: Warren and Gabbard, and Warren blows Gabbard away by a mile. Warren's got problems, of course, but we're not really talking about her today. But what she doesn't have is any of the problems that I talked about that Tulsi does, which are really fundamental to her worldview.
I will give you this.
They're really major, Jimmy. They really should make you think twice about voting for her.
Well, but Warren has some cleaning up to do if she wants to. If she wanted to make that point that she's wants to out. We'll say this debate has been well settled here, and I appreciate it, but let's just make our closing statements, okay?
Well, sure, we can actually close with this, because there's one other thing I wanted to ask you. It's like sort of related to this, but I gotta tell you, Jimmy, on this issue and some others, I see you spit a lot of fire at Michael Brooks and Matt Leck specifically, and I'm just like wondering what's up with that, because I don't ever see them fight back with you, really.
Well, that's interesting. I think if you
I mean, do they pick at you? I mean, I give as good as you get, of course, but
if someone's gonna pick at me, I'm gonna pick the fuck.
It just looks to me like, from where I'm sitting, they
bully me is my point to them.
But they produce a show. They produce a show. It's 15 hours a week, right? It's 5 days a week, and I know that Jimmy, that even to make a podcast that is kind of shitty like we do is a lot of work. So think about how much more work it would be to like make something that's actually good, right? And I just see that you're constantly like yelling at them on Twitter to debate you about this thing or that thing and the other thing. And I don't think they're ducking you because they hate you or they want to like put you down. I think they're just busy, man.
Okay.
I think maybe
I think that's great. Anything else? Because you said it. I mean, yay. My point, if you want me to answer this question, you got a question. It's an answer I have. If you listen to certain things and the way that Michael Brooks, the stuff he says, he certainly deserves a good debate. He certainly is a coward for running away from me.
Do you think he's a coward? Fact. Really? I don't.
Yeah. I think he's the kind of guy who knows he can't. Listen, man. It's a fact.
Really? You think he's afraid of debating you?
No. Let's X that. It's a fear. It's someone who's arrogant. It's just like how you said. It's someone who is, if you look at the podcast of Majority Report, okay, and you go to the beginning of it, and then if you looked at the whole development, you can see what I'm about is not about submitting. I'm about bringing an alternative viewpoint. And I'm about that shit talk. It's always been that way. It's never been different. And so all of a sudden, no, trust me. You want me to answer the fucking question? I'll answer it, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm
serious. This is fact. Okay? I have never changed my way. I'm about my thing, and I'm not going to back down at all. And they in Brooklyn, they're sitting there, and weed is illegal. Okay, illegal in their place. Okay, and I'm made to be a mockery. Look what I accomplished. Now I'm not done. Now I've been doing this the whole fucking time and getting shit on. You look at the history, and I shit back. And so when you might have come into the show, when you started listening, some goddamn point in time, you may have thought that Brooks really looked like he was shitting on me, and I should have submitted to his shit, right? Or maybe you never even heard him shit. You heard my song. You're like, why the hell is Jimmy shitting on Brooks? Well, trust me, dude. This shit is not. And guess what? And my whole point the whole fucking time was I am not required to back down. That's not a requirement of Jimmy Reefer Cake.
No, of course not.
And if I like Tulsi Gabbard for the reasons I stated, and I dislike her I appreciate it. Kind of sucks because like you want to have a candidate, you're so enthusiastic. She was, and you guys, people bring me down. I don't like those are problems. That does suck. But you know what, man? If you want to sing a song, you got inspired. Well, and I like Tulsi, so I've been singing songs about Tulsi. And Brooks never put. No one still, even this debate right now, you still have not, in the whole sum argument of it, it hasn't been as striking to say that I'm a dumb left or dumb or whatever.
I don't call you anything like that.
Exactly, man. But that's what Brooks does. And that's why he's going to get it until he shuts his fucking mouth like that.
All right.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, I appreciate it. No, that was very illuminating.
Yeah, get it.
I consider Michael a friend of mine, so I just want to like tell everyone that because we talk sometimes. I know him a little. I would consider us friends. Same with Matt. Like we're friendly at the very least. So I'm hardly an unbiased observer. But Jimmy, I just think that maybe you take some of that stuff a little too personally. I don't think Michael or Matt or Sam or anyone on the show has like you in mind when they say dumb left. I don't think that's not an attack on you.
No, but let's just don't worry about it. Cause like the things that got me are stuff you could just go back to right when the song was played and shit Michael said recently that was like, what the fuck? He's talking about how I had an anti-Semitic tweet. I mean, it just shits the fuck out of the thing. So he's been a shithole to me. It was kind of weird because this fall I had the great collaborations, man. You talked about collaborations you had to make that, which was a cool, funny video with Lepaco. Mm-hmm. But I had collaborations with, check out Chris Lepaco's channel, all you guys, Majority Report people all watching now. It's funny. And they're talking about the sucky collars, and I agree. But like, there you go. You guys are being dinks saying collars suck.
Well, it was.
I'm just saying.
We're not being serious. You sound.
No. That's what I want to say. You are being serious, dude. I do that too. You are serious. You want less shitty collars. Don't fuck me like that.
That whole video was a joke.
All of it was a joke. Yes. But you like less shitty collars. Man.
I mean, maybe like a humor has like a grain of truth to it, right? Like only 5-10% maybe. You sound actually pissed off though.
Well,
when you talk about them.
Tell you, when it's talking about politics, it's like sports sometimes or something. You get excited. And Brooks, you see Sammy, he was screaming at me at one point back when we was talking about rigging back in the primary.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He was screaming at when I IM'd him.
I never did that, Jimmy. I never did that. That never happened.
That's pretty good. About these little touch button issues that he has. So it was whatever. I was saying because the way they rigged the primary.
I don't want to know. Come on, we gotta end this fucking shit. I'm not talking about
end this, but anyway, as much as the shit I want to bring to Brooks is, I'm not gonna turn down my shit. It's not like I want to punch him out or anything.
No, hey, listen, man. I wasn't trying to tell you. I wasn't trying to tell you what to do. I wasn't trying to tell you what to do. I just wanted to know. That's all. You let me know. I appreciate it. I do.
There is real anger mixed in, just like with your funny video. It's real, but it's also not. And look at what Brooks does to me. And everyone out there measure. If I ever turn down or I'm not as intense as him, then I might as well fucking quit, dude. I'm never going to be lower submissive to Brooks, okay? I'm not going to submit to a guy like Brooks, ever. Right. And there's stuff on his opinions that I legitimately have real, just fucking heartfelt.
Well, I disagree with Michael all the time.
Good, man.
That's fine.
Yeah,
but listen, dude, I really need to like take off my pants and present my red ass in a submissive manner to Michael Brooks. So we're gonna need to wrap this up.
I'm good to go, man. Have a great, you're one of the studs. Thanks for coming on.
No, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Can I give my website real quick? I'm sure most
Give
people
it out.
know where it is.
There are people hanging here, so say what's up.
But of course, I'm Jeff in Georgia. I call the Majority Report. I also produce a podcast at dissidentpeasant.com, most about history and socialism. You guys can check it out. You can also follow me on YouTube, same name, Dissident Peasant. You can check it out on Stitchers, iTunes, on all the places. Thank you so much for having me, Jimmy.
Dissident Peasant, not afraid to come on the channel. Thanks, buddy. Have a great night, and I'd love to have you again. This wasn't too bad, was it?
No, not at all. Let's talk about something else next time.
Yeah, I mean, stuff goes on, man. I appreciate you. Take care, buddy.
Too,
I will
brother.
stop the broadcast. Peace.
Of course.